Okay, let's talk abilities in Madden 26. As we know, Zero Chill is ending, which means our 0 AP abilities are about to raise in AP. So now is a better time than ever to talk about abilities and what abilities are worth your ability points, because everyone's going to have to do a lot of scrambling with their abilities in order to get under the AP limit. I'm going to go by position group and tell you kind of what abilities are worth it and how you should be spending your AP on offense and defense. So let's just get into it. I will be using the help of this Madden 26 abilities tier list by mut.gg. I'm going to kind of just go through all the abilities on here and give my opinion on all of them. So we're starting with offense, and I'm going to start with quarterback. So QB Playmaker is a big one. It's a very meta ability and one that you see a lot in the pro tournaments and stuff like that. I'm not sure. I think Conductor is 10 and QB Playmaker is 8. With only 15 ability points on offense and with no word of an AP increase coming soon, it seems like QB Playmaker is going to be set to the side for a little bit, because I don't think it's worth it at all. When we had all the 0 AP abilities, it was like, okay, maybe you can fit that in there, but it's now there are like no cards that get discounted abilities. I mean, unless the playoff cards get discounts. I'm filming this before playoffs even get revealed, so I don't know what we're going to see in terms of abilities with that promo, but I would stay away from QB Playmaker unless you're like in Ultra Sweat and you use the Playmaker feature a lot. I would avoid that. Next up for QBs, Gunslinger is probably one of the most important abilities in the game, and for 7 AP, in my opinion, it is worth it, especially if you have a QB with a mid-release. Quarterbacks like Caleb Williams can get away with it, and I think Drake May has a good release. I've heard good things about Drake May. But yeah, Gunslinger is almost a necessity this year. Okay, and then let's talk Deadeyes. Inside Deadeye and Pocket Deadeye. What's the difference between the two, and which one should you be running, if any? So Inside Deadeye is going to give you perfect accuracy inside the numbers, and then Pocket Deadeye is going to give you perfect throw accuracy on throws from the pocket. So Pocket Deadeye is 6 AP. I think Inside Deadeye is 5 AP. I'm running Pocket Deadeye on my Taysom Hill. If you want to save an ability point somewhere, you could run Inside Deadeye instead. But I think Pocket Deadeye is better because I am throwing in the pocket more than I am just throwing inside in general. That's my stance on that. And then there are also a couple of other Deadeyes that you could use. Dashing Deadeye is a big one. Lofting Deadeye. There's Sideline Deadeye. I wouldn't recommend Sideline or Lofting Deadeye, or High Point Deadeye for that matter. I think the only Deadeyes that you should be considering are Inside and Pocket Deadeye, and then maybe Dashing Deadeye if you roll out of the pocket a lot. A lot of abilities are based on kind of how you play the game, like what your gameplay style is. So just keep that in mind when I'm going through these, because you might disagree with the take I have because your play style is just different, and that's okay. I like that there's a lot of variation with abilities and stuff like that. And for quarterbacks, we've also got Master Tactician. This one is going to cost you all 15 AP with no discounts, but it's essentially QB Playmaker and Conductor combined, since there's no Hot Route Master this year. In previous years, it was Conductor, QB Playmaker, and Hot Route Master. I personally don't think it's worth it, at least until somebody gets it discounted. I don't think it's worth it for all of your AP on offense. But if you do run it, I mean, it's a really good ability. That's why it costs 15 AP. I mean, there are pluses to it, but there are negatives to it also. You can't use any other abilities on offense. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to mention for quarterbacks. So let's move on now to running backs. I'll keep this one brief. Post Zero Chill, I don't think there is a need for tank at all on any players for that matter. I think the only running back ability that matters is going to be Human Joystick, because it's going to help you speed boost and just get away from tackles. Another one I've seen is Grab and Go, but with Human Joystick, that's kind of mostly what Grab and Go is. Human Joystick is the only ability that's worth it in my opinion. Moving on. Now onto receivers. Now receivers are kind of the same story as running backs. Human joystick is really good. Tank is not needed anymore, so I wouldn't recommend having tank on the field. Because the avalanche, iced out avalanche abilities are going away, tank is no longer needed, but it was kind of a necessity here for a couple of weeks with all the avalanches and everything, and Slot-O-Matic is worth it for your slot receiver, because Slot-O-Matic gives you better routes and better catching from the slot, and it's been really good for me. I have it on a couple of my receivers because they end up in the slot. The only two I would recommend, or I guess maybe three, I guess short in elite is also fine, or short out elite, whatever you want. It really depends on scheme. But like aside from scheme, I think Slot-O-Matic and human joystick are the two best at receiver. Now moving on to tight ends. Tight ends, kind of a similar story to receivers, except human joystick is not needed on them. I think Slot-O-Matic works with tight ends, honestly, too. But if you don't want to go that route, then you could go short in for drag routes, or I guess like short corner routes. Short in also works for that. Yeah, I would recommend some sort of route ability, like short in elite for tight ends, and then also Slot-O-Matic. Okay, now moving on to the offensive line. With all the frozen abilities, pass protector was by far the best ability to run on offensive linemen, because like everybody got it. I'm not seeing it on here, but also secure protector is, I think, the best offensive line ability, but for 3 AP is what it normally costs. I don't think it's worth it. I've also been seeing a lot of all day, which I think that one's okay. It's not necessary, but it helps for sure. And then post up is fine. I don't mind post up. I just wouldn't go out of my way to spend AP on post up. If somebody gets it discounted, that's great. Same thing with identifier. It's nice to know where my opponent is on the field, or like what they're using, but it's not necessary. I think linchpin is a little overhyped because it's supposedly stronger blocking from all offensive linemen, but I'm not sure if it really makes much of a difference, but B, I think it's only on run plays, but it doesn't specify that for some reason. I would not recommend run protector unless you plan on only running the ball. Edge protector is good, adds like more resistance to elite edge rushers, so on your tackles that would be fine. It's 2 AP, so if you have an extra 2 AP and you want to spend it on that, you can. I think the two best are going to be pass protector and secure protector. So if you can get either of those two, preferably discounted, then is definitely the move. But personally, I'm not going to be spending AP on my offensive line. And I think that does it for offense. There might have been something I missed. Oh yeah, gift wrapped. I kind of want to talk about gift wrap. It's only 1 AP on quarterbacks, and if you have that extra AP to spend, like if you're looking to spend an extra 1 AP, I think gift wrapped is a good way to spend that one, because it makes your wide open receivers catch the ball, and sometimes that's a problem, especially in events with like weather conditions. Like the most recent zero chill events have been like in the snow. Gift wrap is kind of a necessity in those modes because drops would happen all the time because of the snow. Yeah, gift wrapped is pretty solid. And I'm just now realizing I didn't go over conductor. I think it's 10 AP, and all it is faster hot routes, which that can be important. Quick snapping can be a very valuable tool to have, and it can help you, win more games just by not letting your opponent set up the defense. But at the same time, 10 AP is kind of ridiculous, but it is a really good ability. So if it does get discounted at some point, I would definitely be looking to put that on my quarterback. So I think that'll do it for offense. Now let's jump into defense, starting with the defensive line. Double or nothing is king. For some reason this year, double or nothing has just become the best ability in the game. It's almost a necessity to have on defense, at least 2 of them. I would recommend having at least 2, which will cost you 6 AP with no discounts, because they're 3 each. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see that get bumped up in the next AP update. Like the cost for double or nothing, if it goes up to like 4 or 5 AP, that would not surprise me at all. But I think for right now, that is the most important ability to have on your field. And I would recommend at least having 2 of them, maybe even 3, because you've got 17 defensive AP to work with. So Just find a good balance. Let's look at the description actually. Grants dominant pass rush wins at twice the cost. I don't know why it's so good. It just is, and it's almost a necessity at this point. Moving on from that, on the D line, we've also got edge threat and edge threat elite. Edge threat elite is going to cost you 4 AP, whereas the normal edge threat is 3. Let's look at the difference between the two. Dominant pass rush moves from the edge, and then dominant edge rush moves and increased QB pressure. That's definitely not a bad way to spend it. Then interior threat is the same thing as edge threat, just from the interior. That one I think is not as good as edge threat because it's easier to get to the quarterback from the edge than it is from the interior. I would probably stay away from interior threat. I've also seen some people running instant rebate, and I'm not sure what it is about this ability, but I've seen a lot of people running it. I personally don't think it's very good. If you have trouble stopping the run, I would also recommend putting an inside stuff somewhere on the field, but it's definitely not a necessity. But if you do struggle to stop the run, then you should probably put in inside stuff, because that will give your defensive player dominant wins on like inside run plays, so inside zone, halfback dive, stuff like that. I think that about covers it for the D-line. So now let's move on to linebackers. And really the only two abilities that you ever need to put on linebackers are Lurk Artist and Mid-Zone KO. That's it. Lurk Artist so that you guys can animate, catch interceptions, and then Mid-Zone so that if you get close with your user, you can knock that ball out. I wouldn't say that one of them is like more important than the other. I think they're both, if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Lurk Artist, but they're both really important, and you should definitely have both on your field, at least on your user. Everything, especially defensively, depends on scheme and how you run your defense. For me, I usually have 2 linebackers or 2 like users on the field, and so I give both of them Lurk Artist and Mid-Zone. But that's just me. Everyone's different. Some people just have 1 user or 1 linebacker on the field, so you only need that stack on 1 player. So if you don't have those on your field, then you're doing something wrong. And then honestly, I don't think there's another linebacker ability that's worth it. I mean, maybe if you drop them into flat zones a lot, then flat zone KO, but even then, I don't think it's really necessary. Okay, so moving on to the secondary now, we're going to start with safeties. And remember, this all depends on what scheme you're in, what defense you run. But for my safeties, I always like to have, like this deep zone KO. My Jonas Sanker gets it as an ability. It's basically deep in zone and deep out zone KO combined. I like to run that if I can, but if not, then just deep in zone KO, because my safeties are usually in inside quarters because I'm most often in cover 4. So I have my 2 safeties on the inside quarters, and then I've got 2 outside corners on outside quarter zones. And then for my outside corners, I give them deep out zone KO. And then I typically have a 3rd corner on the field, like my slot corner. I like to give him a flat zone KO because he's usually in a hard flat or a curl flat. But that's just for my scheme. I think in general, deep out zone KO, deep in zone, deep zone, and mid zone as well. Those are all really good abilities for safeties and corners. But then if you run a lot of man coverage, then 1 step ahead or inside shade are the abilities to go to. But then also pick artist for all DBs is really good, as well as like a deep route KO or a short route KO or something if you run a lot of man coverage. Again, it all depends on scheme. If you run a lot of man blitz, a deep route KO or an inside shade or a 1 step ahead, something like that, like, a lot of man abilities. But then on the flip side, you run a lot of zone, then you want a lot of zone KOs and things of that nature. Keep in mind the way you play defense when you select your abilities. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give. But yeah, I think that's basically it. I think I went over every position group. Real quick, I'm going to give my short list of S tier abilities, like the best abilities in the game, best of the best, like you have to have these on the field. And I would say those are Double or Nothing, Gunslinger, Human Joystick, and Lurk Artist. I think those are the best 4 that you can possibly run if you need like a starting point on, what you want to build out, what you want your abilities to look like, start with those and then build out from there. But yeah, that's going to do it for me in this one. If you guys have any questions about abilities or, want my opinion on any abilities, comment them down below and I will let you know what I think of them. But yeah, otherwise, if you guys enjoyed, please go down there and drop a like and subscribe. It really helped me out a ton. And thank you all for watching. I will see you on the next one. Peace out.